we have breaking news as Petr Mrazek has re-signed with the Chicago Blackhawks on a 2-year deal worth $8 million total. Now, this is an extension we've been waiting for, a very big one in the eyes of the Chicago Blackhawks, and we're going to be breaking down everything in this video. But very quickly, before we get into all of this, we notice that 83% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to get all your breaking news just like this as it happens for the Chicago Blackhawks, make sure to hit that sub button, join along, and we'll be keeping you up to date with every bit of Blackhawks news we have as it happens. But apologies very quickly before we get into it. I am sick, so I can't speak very well. I might sound a bit weird, but we'll move past that. But like I said, we have a breaking news coming from Kevin Weeks here. He says, I'm told the Blackhawks are re-signing their top goaltender, Petr Mrazek, to a 2-year contract worth slightly north of $8 million. So let's just say 8.1, 8.2 to 4.1 per season. Now, Noah, immediate thoughts. What do you think about this deal? Obviously, the number one goaltender getting the money he deserves after playing like he is this season, playing very well. And what do you think about it?
Well, he deserves the money. I mean, like you said, he's been really, really consistent, on obviously a really, really bad team. They're not scoring goals. They're letting in a lot of goals, and his stats have been, really, really consistent for that sort of theme with the team. Like I said, 4.1 I think is really, really solid. Obviously, they're trying to hit the cap floor. We all know that. I mean, Jason Dickinson getting $4 million, I think it was.
Around, yeah.
Nick Foligno getting 4 or 4.5. Last season, getting Corey Perry and Nick Foligno on, again, really, really, I guess, expensive, I guess is the best way of putting it, deals. They're solely trying to hit the cap floor. I really, really like it.
Yep, no, you're absolutely right. I agree with all of it. Like you said, the stats as well that Petr Mrazek has put up this year, you can see right there at the bottom that are highlighted, a .907 save percentage with a 3.01 goals against. Now, those are pretty lopsided. Usually when you have a 3 goals against average, you see like a lower 9, maybe high 800 save percentage, but kind of just shows he's letting in a lot of goals, but I mean, he's making a lot of saves too on this Blackhawks team that we know are pretty light on the defense, pretty light in the offense as well, even with due to all the injuries. But he's been playing very well. He's been very, very consistent all season. The games that the Blackhawks have won were because of him, Jason Dickinson, and Connor Bedard. And, let's not stretch that too far. Those are some of the few players on this team that are putting them where they deserve, where they belong to be in this season. But I am very excited, like you said as well, Noah, about this contract extension. It gives time for guys like Adam Gajan, some of the younger goalies to still develop in this. It gives a bit of time for Arvid Soderblom as well. We know he's struggled this season, and, you don't want to put him into a pressure situation, making him the starting goalie next year. I think it's safe to say Petr Mrazek deserved this money this season, and he's making that for the next 2, which I think is absolutely deserving. But
I think it kind of like the 2-year deal sort of thing kind of shows, like, I guess the time frame when, like that you said, Adam Gajan, Drew Commesso, those guys are going to kind of be taken over. Maybe even Arvid Soderblom. There's some mixed opinions about it, if what to do with him. Obviously, if they're going to keep him, move on from him. Everybody seems to be on one side or the other. But I mean, this is the time frame for guys like Drew Commesso and Adam Gajan. They're playing really, really good. I think Adam Gajan's still in college, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And Drew Commesso has been okay down in Rockford. So give them more time. Obviously, we all know goalies take more time to develop than as a forward or even a defenseman. So I really, really like the time frame. I think they might have been okay giving him like a 3, maybe even a 4-year deal, but 2 years sits with me perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think the only reason they really didn't give him that contract is due to age, but I'm completely in agreement with you. Yeah. They do have a lot of goalies, like you said, Gajan, Commesso, Soderblom, like, they don't want to create a log jam down the line of goalies, but like you said as well, there's no point in rushing goalies. We've seen that experiment happen in the NHL, and most times, not all, but most times, it hasn't worked out. So I think this is a great term contract, great length of a contract. Because you see here, Petr Mrazek was UFA after this season. He's making 3.8, so he's only going to be making a slight bit more than he is currently, which I think is an absolutely fine contract, It'd be 33, maybe 34, depending on exactly the day of his birthday when the contract ends. So, that's still prime age for a goalie. We've seen Jake Allen still have success at that age. Maybe the Blackhawks down the line end up trading him, whether some goalies may seem ready in the system, whether he starts to struggle a bit like he did on the Maple Leafs. But from what I've seen him do this season with the Blackhawks, I think that his struggles have been there, but he's overcome them every opportunity he's had to overcome them, and he's became that true starting goalie the Blackhawks have been looking for this year. And, we're in the situation they're in. They didn't want a star rookie goalie coming in here, getting lit up every game, and, destroying their confidence going into the next few years. But Petr Mrazek was having an off few years before he came to Chicago. He said himself that he completely revamped his career, re-energized himself in this clubhouse. And I think that, it's the perfect opportunity. He likes the area, and I think that, it's well-deserving of him getting a contract here and, finishing out, not his career, but finishing out a late push here with the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I'm like, after like all this extension talk, I'm like, there's back in my mind, I'm kind of like, what would the Blackhawks maybe have gotten if they did decide to trade him? Obviously, we know the market is, nobody really knows the market yet. There hasn't been any sort of crazy moves. I think he easily would have got it, maybe even a second-round pick. He's been playing that good for the Blackhawks, right? I mean, he's been a really, really reliable guy, obviously, like you said. After kind of discussing it, I don't know if I would have rather, like, obviously we talked about like the time frame with Gajan and Commesso, but at the same time I'm like, man, what if you got a second round pick for him? Like, I don't know. I'm like talking about it now with you and going through it. I'm like kind of like 50-50, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this comes from Kyle Davidson saying that, likely true. That these guys will be the types of players such as Jason Dickinson, Nick Foligno, Petr Mrazek. Those are the types of guys you go after in free agency. So would you rather trade them, get back the stuff, and then make an effort to go and try and get them again? Or would you rather have that certainty of being able to lock them up, have that mutual agreement of wanting to stay, and, having that guarantee that these guys will show up again back on this team? So I think the risk obviously was there that you could probably get, especially with Petr Mrazek and Jason Dickinson, seconds, maybe if a team is desperate enough, a first for those guys. But I think the Blackhawks, where they are right now, they have lots of picks. They have lots of prospects. So, I don't think they're going out and needing to get more of that, that style of player, pick, whatnot. I think that where they are right now is in the transition phase going from, the dynasty they were in to right now the rebuild, moving into the next dynasty. And, let's not forget, they have a plethora of prospects in this organization. Some who are projected to be very good, some who are panning out to be good, and some who were projected to just be kind of, a filler for the time being incredible, like Alex Vlasic, which we discussed in yesterday's video. And I think the Blackhawks are going to be in really good shape. So having these guys, transitioning them, especially the veteran presence these guys have into the next generation, is going to be something that the Blackhawks are going to want, something that they're going to be looking for, I would say even in free agency this season. Maybe looking for a few more pieces, like Kyle Davidson said, but the move was it was coming. I think it was either a trade or an extension. I don't really think there was much other. I don't think he was hitting free agency. So I really didn't think they were going to be traded. The thought was there. Maybe they can see if they get something outrageous in the deal that it would have happened. But I think the extension was the likely option. It was the best option in this case. And now the top goalie that from the Blackhawks is off the market. So. The Blackhawks, solidifying that they're not going to be making too many moves in free agency, the trade deadline. Like Kyle Davidson said, I didn't really believe it when he first said it, but now I guess I can understand where he's coming from. At first I was like, is this really the right idea? But I do like the idea now. Kyle Davidson, he's putting in the work. I gotta say, he's exceeding my expectations, which I had hoped for. But I think it's a phenomenal extension just off the bat. I think Petr Mrazek definitely deserves this contract. So Noah, do you got anything off for finish one off here?
Yeah, I was kind of 50-50 going into it, or like I was kind of like like I said with the pick thing, like maybe they could have got something in return, but what you just said kind of made me like, okay, let's keep Mrazek around for a little bit, see what comes of it, and you never know, maybe they could trade him down the line. But solid move, really really like it for the Blackhawks, and it's really really good moving forward for them. Yeah,
no, I definitely think it was one or the other. A lot of people probably would have had opinions on whether or not they wanted to do this, but I think this was the better option at the end of the day, just to prepare for the future for, what's going on down the line. But that's all we got for this video. Once again, I do apologize for my voice. I'm in a lot of pain talking here, so had to get this video. Go ahead.
We were making fun of Nick over at Jays and Leafs just for his voice, but we're not any better. So
Yeah, once again, we do apologize, how to get this video, but that's all we got. If you did want to see more videos like this, breaking news as it happens, want to keep up to date with the Blackhawks, hit the sub button. We pretty much have just about daily content here for the Blackhawks, so if you did enjoy the video as well, make sure you give it a like, but that's all we got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.